Let's bring in the Liberal MP, Tim Wilson. Now, Tim, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So, how certain can you be that you're going to get an agreement involving the Liberal Party and the Nats when it comes to net zero by 2050?
I'm extremely confident that we're going to get an outcome that focuses on how we build the future of Australia's economy. And that's what this discussion is ultimately about. Yes, it's about cutting greenhouse gas emissions, but we can't do that in isolation. It requires the world to work with us. What we're actually talking about is how do we build the future Australian jobs, the future Australian opportunity for the next generation of Australians, and to really compound the opportunity we already have in developing a cleaner economic future. And I'm very confident that the coalition will be focused on achieving that.
You can't do it without the Nats, though.
Well, we focus on getting outcomes, obviously, as part of a coalition. But my hope is that we're going to reach a plan that everybody can sign up to, because they recognise that the focus isn't just on trading off different parts of the ledger. It's about recognising that what we're actually doing is investing in the future growth of the country. And that's where the focus should remain.
One of the big sticking points, though, as you know, is the cost to regional areas, and that is a problem that's been identified by quite a few members of the Nationals Party at the moment. So are they legitimate concerns?
Of course, they're legitimate concerns. And in fact, offsetting the consequences of any negative also needs to be recognised that there's huge opportunity for rural and regional communities, including seeing how we can harness the agriculture sector to invest in carbon sequestration. And I look at those challenges and say, well, yes, they exist, but they're also filled with opportunity. And I'd hope that the Nationals would be keen to be part of that conversation too.
Should there be a carve-out for the agriculture sector?
I don't think carve-outs are a handy way to solve a problem, because if you carve them out in terms of their contribution to reducing emissions, as well as the contribution to emissions, and I see a lot of the issues that face rural and regional communities as ones where there will be an investment which will actually contribute to greater jobs and greater opportunity, and I don't want to carve them out of that conversation.
I mean, it makes up so much of emissions, though. Are you going to need to do that when it comes to agriculture? I mean, we had Keith Pitt on the program a little bit earlier, and he believes that you can't do it.
Well, I'll leave his remarks to him. I haven't seen them, but I don't want to carve regional communities out of the opportunities of new jobs, new growth, and new chances to be part of the solution to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, and frankly, to be part of building new regional economies which actually create opportunities so people want to move to the regions, not just to the capital cities.
Barnaby seems open to the plan. Matt Canavan is certainly not, though. Are you worried about where all that's heading?
Well, everybody's entitled to voice their concern. I mean, there are legitimate concerns around cost, timeframes, what we're going to do to transition communities. And if people have them, they should voice them. But my focus is squarely and will remain on what we need to do to build the economic opportunity, the future of Australia, including in regional communities. And I think other senators from other parties should be part of that conversation too, because I think if they don't, they'll find themselves carved out of the conversation, how they can be part of the solution to this challenge and other ones into the future.
There was a suggestion in the West Australian this morning that the Prime Minister may not go to Glasgow for the climate summit. Would you expect him to be there?
Look, let's wait and see. I mean, as you know, there's 2-week quarantine requirements presently to travel internationally, which is a huge burden on top of a parliamentary schedule. And so I remain open-minded. I've seen leaders go to, I remember when Kevin Rudd went to the Copenhagen summit, I was there, and he turned up and he found out it probably wasn't just not worth his while, but he walked away where he thought he was going to achieve a certain outcome and it didn't. So I remain open-minded. The focus of the Prime Minister has to be on not just governing the nation, but ultimately to make sure that we're getting the outcome more than turning up to international summits.
That'd probably be a fairly big diplomatic snub, though, if he didn't attend such an important conference.
Well, I don't agree with that. I mean, these conferences are held every single year, and it's normally appropriate that the Environment Minister turns up, or the Energy and Emissions Minister, I think, in this current case. So I don't agree with that at all. What matters is the outcome, not actually who gets to jet around the world and attend international summits.
Just finally, the Queensland border, it's looking like at this stage it's going to remain shut to southern states for Christmas, and that includes New South Wales and Victoria. What do you make of that?
Well, I think families want to be reunited. I'm not alone. Many Victorians, many Australians have families in different parts of the country. And I just think the state's constantly trying to shift the goalpost to justify keeping themselves in a bubble isn't sustainable. And the objective out of this period as we get towards high vaccination rates is how to introduce or maintain sustainable measures, not simply to cut off one part of the country to the other.
Okay, Tim Wilson, out of time. Appreciate your time, though. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.